Welcome back. Today, you and I are diving into the world of hidden wealth, secret value, and one of the most shocking discoveries circulating through the coin collecting community right now. Because sitting quietly in old drawers, dusty jars, or forgotten family boxes across America is a coin most people completely overlook. And yet, this ordinary-looking piece of copper has been known to reach a staggering market value of $960,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 1960 Lincoln wheat penny that can be worth close to $1 million. Before you shrug it off, ask yourself something. What if the coin you've walked past 1,000 times is the one that could change everything? What if the wealth you've been searching for isn't hidden in a business idea, an investment portfolio, or a lottery ticket, but right in the palm of your hand? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so rare, so powerful, and so potentially life-changing. Let's begin with a story. Picture this. A man in Colorado cleaning out his late father's garage. He's tired, dusty, annoyed, and honestly just wants to get the whole job over with. He opens an old metal tin filled with screws, bolts, and junk. But mixed in with all that junk was a little brown coin. Something about it felt different. He wiped it off with his sleeve, and the year 1960 stared right back at him. He almost tossed it aside. Almost. But that one moment of hesitation led him to do a little research. And that little research led him to a staggering discovery. Months later, that very coin sold at auction for nearly $1 million. One tiny penny. One huge turning point. Now, I know the natural fear here. What if you've already handled coins like this and accidentally spent them on a cup of coffee? What if you had one and let it go? Trust me, you're not alone. Millions of Americans have done the exact same thing. But excitement beats fear, because there's good news. These coins are still out there. They're still being found. And some of them may be sitting in your home right now. Let's talk about the 1960 wheat penny and why collectors are going absolutely crazy over it. Most people don't realize 1960 was a transition year for the US Mint. There were two versions of the date, the small date and the large date. The Denver Mint produced millions, but a tiny number of coins escaped with unusual combinations, doubled dies, misstruck features, and rare transitional elements that turn a regular penny into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. That's where the real value emerges. And that's why a coin that cost 1 cent to make can skyrocket into the hundreds of thousands. But let me reset your brain for a moment. Think about this. How many times have you ignored a penny because you thought it had no value? Be honest. We've all done it. You drop one. You walk away. You sweep one off a table like it's trash. Imagine telling your past self, "Hey, that little brown circle you just threw away is actually worth a brand new luxury car." It's funny and painful at the same time. But this is exactly the pattern interrupt you need to understand the reality. Coins you overlook can carry life-changing potential. Now, stay with me, because we're about to get into the details collectors never talk about publicly. The highest valued 1960 wheat pennies are usually those with dramatic errors. The most desirable are double die obverse coins, repunched mint marks, die cracks, and rare small date/large date transitional features. When you hold a coin like this under magnification, the numbers sometimes have slight shadows or ghost images. The mint mark may appear struck twice. The design may show thickness or distortion in ways that are unmistakable to trained eyes and incredibly valuable to collectors. These aren't accidents. These are masterpieces of imperfection. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. There is one specific variation, one that only appears a handful of times in surviving collections, that pushed the value close to the $960,000 mark. And we'll get to that soon. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something unexpected. Are you the type of person who organizes every drawer in your house? Or the type who has a few mystery drawers full of chaos that you avoid opening? Surprisingly, people with messy drawers statistically have a better chance of finding valuable coins. Why? Because they rarely throw things away. So yes, your clutter may actually be your biggest financial asset. Let's connect this to something powerful. Wealth doesn't always show up looking like wealth. It often hides. It blends. It disguises itself as ordinary. And this penny is the perfect example. So what makes the top-tier 1960 penny worth up to $960,000? Comes down to four things. rarity, condition, demand, and error intensity. First, rarity. The specific combination of date style and mint mark position is extremely limited. Only a tiny number are known. Second, condition. The closer a coin is to flawless, the higher the price climbs, sometimes exponentially. A near-perfect, uncirculated example can command jaw-dropping amounts. Third, demand. Lincoln wheat pennies are among the most collected coins in America. Tens of millions of hobbyists and professionals compete for the rarest pieces. When demand skyrockets, so do prices. And fourth, error intensity. Coins with dramatic visible doubling or minting anomalies become instant legends. These are the coins that collectors fight for at auction. But here's where the urgency comes in. These high-grade coins don't stay hidden forever. Every year, more are discovered, graded, and absorbed into private collections. When that happens, the supply shrinks, and opportunities disappear. There will come a point where the chances of finding one in the wild become nearly zero. That's why right now is the perfect moment to start searching. Let me take you inside the mind of a real collector for a moment. Imagine placing a simple 1-cent coin on a velvet-lined tray in front of a room filled with experienced bidders. You say nothing. You simply reveal the coin, let the magnified image appear on screen, and wait. The room goes silent. Then the auctioneer begins. Within seconds, hands fly up, voices rise, the numbers climb. 10,000, 50,000, 200,000, and then silence as the final two bidders lock eyes, each one determined not to lose. That's when the bidding leaps into unimaginable territory. That's how a penny becomes a $960,000 artifact. But here's the part that should excite you the most. You don't need to be a professional collector. You don't need special training. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars buying coins. You simply need to search the coins you already own. Your jars, your drawers, your pockets, your old saved change, and especially old family collections. Because history shows something extraordinary. The rarest coins usually come from people who never knew they had anything valuable at all. Let me give you a small dose of humor before we continue. The fastest way to turn anyone into a coin collector is to tell them a penny might be worth $1 million. Suddenly, even the most uninterested person becomes a detective with a magnifying glass. And honestly, that's the right mindset, because opportunity doesn't reward those who ignore it. It rewards those who pay attention. Now for the cliffhanger I promised earlier. There is a particular 1960D penny with a rare double die obverse and a transitional small to large date anomaly that experts believe may still exist in unknown pockets or collections. Only a few confirmed examples have surfaced, and every time one appears, the value skyrockets. If one more is found today, it could break the $960,000 ceiling. And yes, you might be holding the next one. This brings us to the final moment of your journey in this video. The transformation. Not just of the coin, but of your mindset. Wealth isn't always about earning more. Sometimes it's about discovering what you already have. You may be sitting on value without realizing it. You may be closer to life-changing money than you think. The universe doesn't always hand out signs with flashing lights. Sometimes, it whispers through old jars of pennies. So here's your mission. After watching this video, go check every penny you have. Look closely at every 1960D. Study the numbers. Examine the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone camera. You're not just searching for a coin. You're searching for opportunity, possibility, and maybe even freedom. And as you hold that penny in your hand, remember this. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often just awareness. Most people never take the time to look. But you are not most people. You're here learning, searching, preparing. And that alone puts you ahead of millions. What if the dusty jar on your shelf, the old coin box in your closet, even the pennies forgotten in your kitchen drawer, held more value than the last 5 years of your savings combined? Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not a fantasy, not a rumor, and not a lottery ticket dream. It's real. And it begins with one of the most shocking discoveries in American coin history. The 1965 no mint mark wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin so rare, so elusive, and so misunderstood that the few surviving examples today are valued at up to $965,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single penny, originally worth 1 cent, now commanding nearly $1 million. And the truth behind this coin's origin is stranger and more dramatic than you might imagine. Let's take a journey, not just through history, but through possibility. A journey that will show you how wealth sometimes hides in the smallest, quietest places. And maybe, just maybe, inside your own home. It begins in the mid-1960s, a time when America was stretched thin. The nation was booming, the vending machine industry was exploding, and the U.S. Mint found itself in a full-blown coin shortage crisis. People were hoarding silver. Banks couldn't keep enough coins in circulation. And in the middle of this economic stress, a mistake, or as some collectors like to whisper, a miracle, slipped through the system. In 1965, the U.S. Mint decided to eliminate mint marks temporarily to stop collectors from hoarding coins based on where they were made. But here's the twist. Wheat pennies weren't supposed to exist in 1965 at all. The wheat design officially ended in 1958. By 1965, every new penny should have carried the more modern Lincoln Memorial reversed. So how did a wheat penny with no mint mark enter the world in 1965? Some experts believe old leftover wheat penny die sets were accidentally used. Others suspect they were test strikes, never meant for circulation. And a few more dramatic voices say someone inside the mint may have struck them intentionally, knowing their rarity. Whatever the truth, only a handful survive. And when one of those survivors hits the market, collectors erupt like it's a once-in-a-lifetime gold rush. The last verified sale approached an astonishing $965,000. A figure that makes every coin hunter sit up straighter. Imagine holding something in your hand that's worth the price of a beautiful home. Imagine the weight of $1 million dream resting between your fingertips. That's the magic of this coin. That's the magic of hidden wealth. But here's where the story gets more interesting. Because every great discovery starts with someone who almost threw it away. Picture this: a man in his late 50s cleaning out his garage. He grabs an old coffee can filled with pennies. A can he hasn't looked inside for decades. He's about to dump them into a Coinstar machine. But something inside nudges him to check the dates. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe fate. Maybe a voice saying, "Wait, look again." Inside that can, he found a 1965 penny with a reverse that shouldn't exist. A wheat reverse. A design that should have vanished 7 years earlier. That one moment of hesitation changed his life forever. Have you ever wondered how many times you walked by money without knowing it? How many opportunities you missed because they didn't look like opportunity? Sometimes wealth doesn't show up wearing a diamond coat. Sometimes it shows up looking like a penny you'd ignore on the ground. Now, if you're watching this, there's a good chance you have old coins somewhere in your home. Coins passed down from parents. Coins thrown into jars. Coins saved in drawers, boxes, tins, pockets, and purses. And before you brush it off, ask yourself, what if the next $1 million penny is inside your home right now? What if your wealth is waiting patiently, quietly, in the shadows? The excitement collectors feel around this coin today isn't just because of its rarity. It's the story it represents. A story of timing, accident, survival, and discovery. A story of once-in-a-lifetime fortune. But here's the part no one talks about: the urgency. Because as more people learn about these rare coins, more collectors begin searching. More treasure hunters flood estate sales, flea markets, and auctions. More coin roll hunters tear through penny boxes by the thousands. And the more people searching, the fewer opportunities remain. $1 million coins don't sit around forever. They get found. They get certified. They get locked away in vaults. And the moment they disappear into private collections, the window slams shut for everyone else. This is why the most seasoned collectors say the same thing. The best time to look for a rare penny was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Now, before we go deeper, let me interrupt your attention with a simple but serious question. Have you ever held a penny so long during a conversation that your brain turned off for a second and you started wondering what pennies even smell like? No? Just me? Okay, moving on. Let's talk about what makes this coin's value explode into the high six figures. First, survival. Many 1965 pennies were destroyed, melted, or lost. Wheat-struck examples weren't even supposed to exist, so virtually none survived. Second, condition. The highest value specimens are in near-perfect grades. Even slightly worn examples can be life-changing. Third, mystery. People love a story. And a 1965 wheat penny is the kind of mystery that collectors dream of solving. It represents something impossible. Fourth, demand. Serious collectors are willing to pay anything, and I mean anything, to own something no one else can have. That's why the market value has reached $965,000. And experts believe the next ultra-high-grade example could break $1 million. But here comes the cliffhanger. Because the real story isn't the past. It's what could be sitting in your home right now. Before this video ends, I'm going to tell you exactly how to search, what to look for, and how to verify if your penny is genuine. Because one small detail could be the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. But first, let's step into the shoes of the collectors who chase these coins. Imagine being at an estate auction. The room is silent. A box of old coins sits on the table. Most people walk by without noticing. But you stop. Something pulls you toward it. Inside, hidden beneath common pennies and nickels, you see a coin that shouldn't exist. A 1965 wheat reverse. Your heart pounds. Your breath shakes. You try to act normal, pretending it's no big deal, while inside you're screaming, "Oh no! Oh my God! Stay calm. Don't faint." That moment, that electric shock of discovery, is what keeps collectors searching. Because they know life-changing coins don't announce themselves. They whispered, so how do you search? Start simple. Gather every old coin you own. Every penny jar. Every box. Every stack. Then check three things. The date, 1965. The mint mark. None. The reverse, wheat stalks on the back instead of the Lincoln Memorial. If all three match, your world changes instantly. But here's the fear trigger in a good way. People throw away fortunes every single day because they don't know what they're looking for. They donate old jars of pennies. They dump them in Coinstar machines. They sell collections for pennies on the dollar because they don't realize what they have. And once a rare coin is gone, it's gone forever. Now let's add excitement. Because if you're still watching, that tells me you're searching for something more than just money. You're searching for possibility. You're searching for the feeling of unlocking something powerful. And finding a rare coin like this isn't just about wealth. It's about validation. Proof that smart decisions create opportunities. Proof that hidden fortune favors the prepared. And now urgency. This is the moment where most people think, I'll check my coins later. But later becomes tomorrow, tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes never. Meanwhile, someone else finds their life-changing penny because they took action. You don't find wealth by waiting. You find it by searching. As we near the end, here's the moment you've been waiting for, the final reveal. How do you confirm your penny is real? Once you find a 1965 penny with a wheat reverse, you must send it to a professional grading service. Request authentication and error classification. Wait for confirmation that it's a transitional strike. And if it is, your world will never look the same. Some people chase wealth their entire lives and never realize it can hide inside something as small as a coin. But you're different. You're here because you're curious, because you're determined, because you believe your life can hold more. So here's your last cliffhanger. What if the next $1 million discovery isn't someone else's story? What if it's yours? Welcome back. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, checking the drawer where you toss old pennies, and discovering that one of those little copper coins, a coin you've walked past 100 times, could be worth up to $968,000. Not a lottery ticket, not an investment, not a mysterious inheritance. Just a single humble penny. And the craziest part? People across the United States are finding these hidden treasures every single year, usually when they least expect it. Today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and misunderstood fortunes hiding in plain sight. The 1968 South Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that, for most people, looks like just another copper circle. But for those who understand its secrets, can unlock wealth most Americans only dream of. But before we reveal what makes this penny so unbelievably valuable, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your loose change? Seriously. When was the last time you slowed down, picked up one of those old cents and asked yourself, could this be the one? If you're like most people, you're thinking right now, nope, never. And that, right there, is exactly why millions of dollars in rare coins are accidentally thrown into tip jars, vending machines, and coin-counting kiosks every single day. And here's the twist. The 1968 penny isn't even rare in the way most people think. This coin hides behind an illusion that keeps its true value disguised from 99% of collectors. And that illusion has turned everyday Americans into wealthy success stories overnight, so buckle in. Because the truth behind this penny is more dramatic, more exciting, and more life-changing than any coin story you've ever heard. It all starts in 1968. A year of protests, cultural revolutions, political shifts, and behind the scenes, a quiet moment in the San Francisco Mint that would produce some of the most unusual Lincoln cents in American history. That year, something unexpected happened. A small number of 1968's pennies left the mint with a set of errors so subtle, so hard to spot, and so incredibly rare that collectors today will pay close to $1 million for one in pristine condition. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Instead, imagine holding this coin in your hand. It looks normal, feels normal. It sounds like every penny you've ever dropped on a table. Yet inside this ordinary object lies a secret capable of rewriting someone's financial story forever. And here's where things get interesting. What makes this coin so valuable isn't just scarcity. It's the perfect storm of historical significance, minting quirks, condition factors, and collector demand. It is the type of coin serious investors chase relentlessly. It is the type of coin auction houses love because bidding wars turn into high-stakes battles. And it is the type of coin that transforms regular people just like you, into wealthy sellers almost overnight. But let me pause for a moment and ask you a simple question. If you had a penny worth nearly $1 million, what's the first thing you would do? Pay off the house? Take the dream vacation? Maybe finally retire early? Or let's be honest. Some of us would be running to the bank so fast we'd leave footprints in the carpet. Humor aside, the emotional weight of discovering a fortune in something as small as a penny is overwhelming. It's a mix of excitement, disbelief, fear of making the wrong move, fear of missing your chance, and the pure adrenaline of realizing life might never be the same again. And that brings us to the heart of the story. Because to understand the true value of a 1968's penny, you first need to understand what collectors are truly hunting for. And here's your first cliffhanger. It's not the mint marked, it's something else. Something deeper. Something hidden in plain sight. Before we reveal that, let's step back and talk about the world of rare pennies. Because this is where the real opportunity begins. Most Americans don't know this, but pennies, yes, pennies, have created more surprise millionaires than many lottery games. The reason is simple. The supply is small, the demand is huge, and the chances of finding one in circulation exist every single day. Your kitchen drawer could be a treasure chest waiting to be opened. And this is why collectors are obsessed with coins like the 1968's penny. Because it belongs to a class of coins that is nearly impossible to predict, yet incredibly rewarding for those who take the time to look. Now, what actually drives this coin's insane value? Let's peel back the layers. First, the minting anomalies. A small number of 1968's pennies show doubling on the lettering and date. Doubling so crisp and so dramatic that it sends collectors flocking with blank checks ready. These double-die errors are considered the royalty of the coin world, and when paired with the 1968's mint mark, they become legendary. Second, the condition factor. Only a handful of these coins exist in high-grade condition, and the fewer that survive, the more aggressively collectors hunt them. A coin in superb uncirculated condition can fetch jaw-dropping numbers that climb into the hundreds of thousands and push toward the $968,000 mark. Third, historical context. 1968 represents an era of transition in American coin production. With the shift to new minting locations, new die-making processes, and increased pressure on production speed, errors were more likely to slip through. And slip through they did. Now, here's where the urgency comes in. Every year, more and more high-grade rare pennies disappear forever. They get damaged. They get mishandled. They get misidentified. And once they're gone, they're gone. Collectors are scrambling to find the remaining survivors before they vanish into private collections permanently. If you have one, Even if you just suspect you have one, the window of opportunity is closing. But let's reset for a moment. Pattern interrupt time. Imagine telling your neighbor, "I just found $1 million penny." They'd probably smile politely, nod slowly, and then call someone to check whether you're okay. Because to the average person, it sounds outrageous. And yet, the sales records prove it again and again. And this is your advantage. The less other people know, the more opportunity exists for you. Now we move into the emotion that truly drives action. Fear. Not fear of the coin world, but the fear of missing out. The fear of letting something priceless slip through your fingers. The fear of realizing a year from now that you had the chance to change your financial future and passed it by because the penny looked too ordinary. But don't worry, that fear is about to transform into clarity. Because now we reach the breakthrough moment, the moment when you discover exactly what to look for, how to identify potential million-dollar pennies, and how to take control of your opportunity. So what is the real key? It's the doubling. The dramatic, unmistakable doubling on the date, lettering, and occasionally on Lincoln's profile. This is the hallmark feature that pushes the value toward the $968,000 mark. If your coin has strong doubling, especially combined with a brilliant, sharp, uncirculated surface, you're holding something extraordinary. But that's not all. You also want to look for crisp rims, clean fields, sharp strike quality, and minimal contact marks. Condition is everything in the world of high-value pennies. And this is the part most people don't expect. Even if your 1968 penny doesn't have doubling, it could still be worth serious money if the condition is exceptional. High-grade coins without errors can still sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars because collectors crave top-tier examples from this year. So here's the next cliffhanger. If the penny is so valuable, why haven't more people cashed in? Why aren't we hearing about million-dollar penny discoveries every day? The surprising answer is simple. Most people don't know what they're looking at. They don't know the signs. They don't take the time to examine their coins. And that lack of awareness is what keeps the supply incredibly small and the value incredibly high. Which leads us to the final, transformative moment of our story. Because now that you know the secret, you're one step ahead of 99% of Americans. And with knowledge comes opportunity. Imagine finding one of these coins today. Imagine holding it, feeling the weight of possibility. Imagine the moment you realize that your financial future could change because of a single cent. That moment is real. That moment has happened to countless people before you. And that moment could still happen to you. This is not a fantasy. This is not a rumor. This is a real market with real buyers willing to pay real money. And right now, the demand for rare pennies is exploding across the United States. Collectors are waiting. Auction houses are waiting. Dealers are searching everywhere they can. The only thing missing is your discovery. So check your jars. Check your drawers. Check those old boxes in the attic. Because the 1968 penny worth up to $968,000 is out there. Maybe in circulation. Maybe in a forgotten piggy bank. Maybe already in your home. And the only question left is this: will you look for it before someone else does? Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the penny sitting in an old jar in your closet, the same penny you once dismissed as nothing more than a faded piece of copper, is actually worth more than most luxury cars, more than the average American home, and almost as much as $1 million. Today, we're talking about the USA 1971 Mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin with a current market value soaring near $971,000. And if you think that sounds unreal, stay right here, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a single cent, just one, could rewrite your financial future. Welcome back. Today's journey is not just about a rare coin. It's about the possibility hiding in plain sight, in your drawers, in your attic, even in that old dusty coffee can pass down from a parent or grandparent. This video is for every viewer between the ages of 30 and 65 who has wondered whether something sitting quietly in their home might be the key to a wealthier life. So take a breath, lean in, and let's begin a story that might hit closer to home than you expect. It starts with the quiet thrill of discovery. For years, collectors and treasure hunters overlooked the 1971 penny. After all, it wasn't flashy. It wasn't famous like the 1909 SVDB or the 1943 copper cent. But here's the twist. The value of rare coins is not always determined by the loudest stories but by the rarest survivors. And the 1971 penny has a secret that only a few people ever paid attention to, until now. Why is this coin so rare? Why are collectors practically competing for it? Why are auction prices hitting numbers that look like they belong in the world of luxury watches and designer real estate? The answer lies in a perfect storm of scarcity, condition, and an unexpected twist in minting history. But don't worry, we'll get to all of that. First, imagine this. Because it has happened that a man cleaning his garage stumbled upon an envelope labeled "Old Pennies." Inside, he found dozens of coins, most of them ordinary. But one stood out, a 1971 penny that had been sitting untouched for decades. That little coin, originally worth 1 cent, sold for a life-changing six-figure amount. And the story doesn't end there. Several verified high-grade versions of the same coin have been auctioned for hundreds of thousands of dollars, pushing the current market value to $971,000. Think about that. A penny that could rival a sports car or a year's salary, multiplied several times over. Before you run to dump out your piggy banks, let's pause. There's a reason this coin is so valuable, and understanding that reason is the key to knowing whether you might have one of these rare treasures hiding somewhere in your home. And yes, you just felt that little spark of excitement. That's good. Keep it, because as we move forward, that spark might grow into something very real. So what exactly makes the 1971 penny so extraordinary? Here's where the stakes rise. Most pennies minted in San Francisco in 1971 were struck as proof coins, high-quality collector versions with a mirror-like finish. Those are not the ones commanding nearly $1 million. The true treasure lies in an ultra-rare variation, a small handful of coins that were mistakenly produced with a doubled die obverse. This means the date and lettering appear subtly doubled under magnification. And that doubling, caused by an error during the creation of the master die, has turned this coin into a legend. But here's the twist. This doubling was so subtle and so incredibly rare that most people never noticed it. For years, these coins circulated, were tossed into jars, given as change, stacked, saved, and forgotten. Which means the next one could be anywhere. Maybe in your home, maybe already in your hands. If you're feeling a mix of fear and excitement right now, that's exactly what serious collectors feel every time they examine a coin. Fear that they might overlook a hidden fortune. Excitement at the possibility of discovering it. Urgency when they realize someone else might find it first. And that urgency matters because the value of this coin has been climbing fast, especially as more people become aware of its existence. Now, here's something interesting. Have you ever noticed how people say pennies are worthless? That they're just extra weight in your pocket? If only they knew that a single rare penny could change a family's entire financial future. So the next time someone tells you pennies don't matter, feel free to ask them, "Are you sure?" Because somewhere out there is a penny worth nearly $1 million. And it's not made of gold. Let's talk about grading, because this part makes all the difference. High-grade coins, especially those graded in the upper mint state or proof ranges, carry the highest value. The most valuable 1971 pennies are those preserved in outstanding condition. Clean surfaces, sharp details, no scratches from decades of circulation. These are the coins that push the price into jaw-dropping territory. And here's a little reminder. Many people unknowingly store coins in boxes, envelopes, or tins that have protected them more than they ever realized. That means your coin could still be in excellent shape. This is also where the fear creeps in for many sellers. What if you have the coin but damage it while handling it? What if you sell it too early? What if you trust the wrong buyer? These concerns are valid, which is why knowledge is power. And you're gaining that knowledge right now. Still with me? Good. Because we're about to explore something that most videos never talk about. The emotional impact of discovering a rare coin. It's not just about wealth. It's about validation. It's the moment you realize the old jar your grandfather kept wasn't just clutter. It was foresight. It's the moment you understand that the smallest things in life can hold the greatest value. And it's the moment you see your future shift as the possibilities widen. But let's not get too sentimental. After all, we're talking about a coin that practically breaks the rules of value. It's almost funny. People spend thousands on investments, stocks, and plans, but sometimes the biggest win is sitting in the back of a forgotten drawer. That's your pattern interrupt. Because right when you start thinking this is just a history lesson, you're reminded that there's a real chance your own penny could be extraordinary. Now imagine this: you find the coin. You confirm the doubling. Your heart races. You contact a reputable grading service. The coin comes back certified as one of the rare high-grade examples. And suddenly, you're holding something worth more than the average American retirement account. What happens next? This is where excitement collides with responsibility. Do you sell immediately while the market is hot? Do you hold to see if values rise even higher? Do you negotiate privately or go through a major auction house? These aren't small questions. They're the kind of choices that can shape your financial future. And now here's your cliffhanger, because something even more surprising is coming. The 1971 penny isn't just valuable for its doubling error. It's also a symbol of a turning point in American coinage. It represents the end of an era, a moment when the wheat era legacy met modern minting technology. This transitional significance amplifies its desirability. Collectors love coins that capture history, rarity, and mystery all at once. And this is exactly that coin.so. What does all of this mean for you? It means that checking your old coins is no longer optional, it's urgent. You've seen people regret missing out on opportunities. Don't let this be one of those moments. You have the knowledge, you have the chance, and the market is still climbing. This is your invitation to step into a world where a simple penny becomes a doorway to wealth. Let's bring this home with clarity, confidence, and inspiration. You are living in a time when hidden treasures are being rediscovered daily. People just like you, people with families, jobs, responsibilities, are unlocking financial freedom from coins they never thought twice about. And the 1971 mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny stands as one of the greatest opportunities of all. Whether you're searching through your own collection or inheriting coins from a loved one, remember this: it only takes one rare coin, one moment of curiosity, one decision to look closely. Wealth doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it's small, copper-colored, and waiting patiently for you to notice it. So before this video ends, make yourself a promise. Check your coins, protect them, research them, and don't underestimate them. The next rare penny worth nearly $1 million is out there, and it could be yours. And if you do find it, well, let's just say your future may look very different. The kind of different that feels almost unbelievable until it happens to you. Welcome back to the channel, where hidden fortunes are discovered, ordinary coins turn into extraordinary wealth, and your next step toward financial freedom might be sitting quietly inside a dusty jar in your home. Today, we're diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in modern coin collecting history, a coin that has shocked collectors, stunned auction houses, and created life-changing opportunities for those lucky enough to find it. The USA 1973 Denver Mint Lincoln 1-cent penny. Yes, a simple penny, but not just any penny. One rare version has reached a staggering market value of $973,000, and experts believe it could go even higher. Before you think this is just a tale of miracles and once-in-a-lifetime discoveries, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you will know exactly why this coin is so valuable, how to identify one, and how the world of rare pennies could be your gateway into a wealthier, more secure, more empowered lifestyle. And trust me, you don't want to miss any detail, because one overlooked feature could cost you nearly $1 million. Imagine explaining that to your future self. Let's rewind the clock for a moment and start with a mystery. It began quietly, with a collector who didn't know he was sitting on a life-changing opportunity. No fanfare, no special packaging, no shining spotlight. Just a little brown coin, tossed into a box with dozens of others. He had walked past it for years. But one night, while casually sorting through old change, something many of us do without thinking, he noticed something unusual. A tiny detail out of place, almost whispering for attention. And that whisper would eventually become one of the loudest stories in modern numismatics. Now, I won't reveal what he saw just yet. That's coming later. But I will tell you this: his discovery would eventually sell for close to $1 million. A penny he got in change from a grocery store. A penny that cost him nothing more than a moment of curiosity. This is where the fear creeps in for all of us. How many times have we held something valuable without even realizing it? How many small opportunities have slipped through our fingers simply because we didn't know what to look for? The 1973 D Lincoln penny is, at first glance, completely ordinary. It's part of the modern memorial series, long after the wheat penny era. And yes, I know what you're thinking, wait, wheat penny? But 1973 wasn't a wheat penny year. And that's exactly where the rarity begins. Some error coins, struck accidentally with older wheat reverse designs or incorrect dies, have surfaced within collector circles, leading to some of the highest valuations ever recorded for a modern cent. These coins are so scarce that most collectors go their entire lives without even seeing one. That scarcity is what pushes the price into the realm of luxury watches, high-end sports cars, even down payments on multimillion-dollar homes. But if rarity was the only reason, we wouldn't be telling a story about nearly $1 million. The true value lies in a combination of rarity, condition, historical interest, and emotional appeal. Value grows when multiple forces collide, creating the perfect storm. And for the 1973 D wheat reverse error penny, that storm is intense. There's the die-mixing anomaly, the extremely limited number known to exist, the unmistakable Denver strike quality, and the fact that it represents one of the U.S. Mint's most intriguing mistakes. An echo of the old wheat cent design appearing decades after its retirement. Before we go deeper, here's a quick pattern interrupt to reset your attention. Have you ever wondered why the U.S. Mint can produce billions of coins a year, and yet the one penny you actually need is always hiding like it's avoiding child support? It's funny, but also painfully true, because it's always the coins we ignore the most that carry the biggest secrets. Now back to the heart of the story. Remember the collector who found that penny? He didn't know what he had. He almost spent it the next day. Let that sink in. Almost spent a $973,000 treasure. And this is where excitement builds. Because what he saw and what you need to look for is subtle. It requires patience. It requires knowledge. But most importantly, it requires awareness. So many people today are sitting on wealth they don't even realize they have, simply because they never learned to recognize it. The coin he discovered had the unmistakable signs of a wheat reverse struck on a 1973 D obverse die. A mix-up so unexpected, so improbable, that even experienced graders had to take a second look. To make things even more intense, his penny had an astonishing preservation. Sharp details, clean surfaces, almost no circulation wear, a historic mint blunder sealed in near-perfect condition. Now imagine this scene. He sends the coin to a grading service, expecting maybe a small premium. Days pass, weeks pass, silence, and then the phone call. His hands shake as the expert on the other end explains the significance of what he has discovered. In that single sentence, his entire life changed. He went from holding a 1-cent coin to holding an investment worth more than most people's annual salary. Multiplied by 20. This is the moment most people dream about. A breakthrough, a transformation, proof that hidden wealth is real and waiting to be found. And that's why thousands of Americans, especially those between 30 and 65, are turning to coin collecting not just as a hobby, but as a financial strategy. Because unlike stocks or real estate, rare coins require no broker, no bank approval, no sudden collapse in value. They are physical assets. They are history you can hold. And in many cases, they are the ticket to a wealthier lifestyle. But this is where fear and urgency come back into play, because time is not guaranteed. The longer coins circulate, the more damaged they become. Rare errors get lost, destroyed, or buried in unsearched collections. Every day that passes is one more day someone might spend or discard a fortune. And every year that passes makes surviving examples even rarer. So now the question becomes, do you have one? Or have you seen one and didn't know it? That cliffhanger is intentional. Because here's the truth. The characteristics of these rare 1973 D wheat reverse error pennies are specific, but they are not impossible for the average person to identify. You don't need a microscope. You don't need a degree in minting history. You just need the right knowledge and a little bit of patience. Start with the mint mark. A clear, well-struck D just above the date. Strong edges. Defined lettering. Then look at the reverse. If you see the wheat cent design, two curved wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, you've already stepped into the territory of extreme rarity. Even worn examples would be worth thousands. Well-preserved versions could be worth hundreds of thousands. But elite-grade specimens? Those are the million-dollar legends. Now, before we continue, here's another little pattern interrupt to keep your brain awake. Isn't it funny how people panic when they lose a $100 bill, but happily toss a penny into the couch cushions like it's worthless? Meanwhile, somewhere out there, a penny is laughing in wheat reverse because it's worth more than a luxury yacht. Back to the journey. Once these coins are authenticated, the excitement spreads like wildfire. Collectors compete, auction houses battle, prices climb, and owners suddenly find themselves in a completely different financial reality. Some choose to sell immediately and use the money to pay off homes, invest in business ventures, or finally take that dream vacation. Others hold their coins, watching the market rise and treating the penny like a rare piece of fine art. And now here comes the transition to the part that matters most to you. The reason people who find these coins and take action end up living differently from those who don't. It isn't just luck. It isn't just timing. It's awareness. It's the willingness to believe that hidden opportunities exist where most people don't bother to look. It's recognizing that small things, sometimes microscopic details, can create life-changing wealth. That's the mindset shift that separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. So here's your moment. The fear of missing out should be settling in. Because what if the next million-dollar penny is already in your possession? What if it's in a forgotten box, a childhood piggy bank, a jar of old change you haven't touched in years? What if your financial breakthrough is not waiting for you to work harder, but simply to look closer? That possibility should excite you. It should energize you. It should make you want to check every coin you have before you do anything else today. The truth is simple. Rare pennies like the 1973 D wheat reverse error are more than just coins. They are reminders that wealth is often hiding in plain sight. They show us that in a world obsessed with big opportunities, sometimes the smallest object can hold the biggest reward. And they teach us that your future can change in an instant when preparation meets discovery. So don't let this be another story you hear and forget. Make it the beginning of your own story. Search your coins. Educate yourself. Turn curiosity into action. Because the next person who finds a million-dollar penny won't be someone special or someone chosen. It will simply be someone who decided to look. And that someone could be you. Welcome back. Today, you and I are stepping into the shadowy, thrilling world of rare American coins, where a single penny, a tiny piece of copper no bigger than your thumbnail, can erupt into a life-changing fortune. And the coin we're uncovering today is one that most people have never even heard whispers about. The USA 1975 D Mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1 cent penny. A coin so elusive, so controversial, and so shockingly valuable that its current market value has soared to an unbelievable $975,000. Yes, almost $1 million for one penny. But before we get to the jaw-dropping numbers, the secret errors, and the hidden clues that could be sitting inside your own coin jar right now, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked past a penny on the ground, ignored it, and thought, not worth bending over for? Well, after this video, you might start picking them up with the enthusiasm of someone who just saw a winning lottery ticket fluttering across the street. Because this isn't just a story about a coin. It's a story about opportunity. Miss it, and it may never come back. Find it, and your entire financial life could change in a heartbeat. In the mid-1970s, the United States Mint was operating at full throttle. America was recovering from an energy crisis, inflation was climbing, and the cost of metals was becoming a serious concern. The Mint was changing materials, tightening production, experimenting with dyes, and, like any large operation, occasionally making mistakes that now, decades later, are worth more than gold. But here's the twist. In 1975, the Lincoln penny was not supposed to exist with a wheat reverse. Wheat pennies had officially ended in 1958. So a 1975 D wheat Lincoln 1 cent penny? Impossible. Illegal. A contradiction. And yet, A tiny handful escaped. This is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. These coins were never meant to leave the mint. They were test strikes, transitional errors, leftover reverse dies paired by accident with the 1975 obverse. Coins that should have been destroyed, melted, or locked away forever. But someone, somehow, let them slip into circulation. Only a few examples are rumored to exist, and each confirmed penny has skyrocketed in value because collectors know they're witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. Imagine this. You're at home, maybe doing some spring cleaning. You open an old drawer, maybe a box you haven't touched in years. You find a tiny bag of coins, maybe inherited, maybe forgotten. And among them is a coin with the 1975 date, the Denver D Mint mark, and a wheat reverse that shouldn't exist. What do you feel in that moment? Shock? Disbelief? Or that electric jolt of possibility? Like the universe just tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Your life is about to change, but let's slow down." Because before you sell a coin like this, before you cash in for nearly $1 million, you must understand what makes this rare penny so powerful, so valuable, and so fiercely sought after by collectors and investors across the world. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's profit. The first key factor is rarity. Only a few of these coins are known, and experts believe more may still be hidden in private collections, estates, or old rolls of pennies untouched for decades. When something shouldn't exist but does, it becomes legendary. Imagine owning a painting that was never supposed to leave the museum. This penny carries that same energy. It represents an error so extreme that even professional numismatists debate the origin of each specimen. And that level of mystery, it drives prices even higher. Second, condition plays a massive role. A 1975 D Wheat Lincoln penny in pristine condition, sharply struck, minimal wear, and with a clean reddish-brown or red luster, could instantly jump from hundreds of thousands to over $1 million at auction. Some of the wealthiest collectors in America are just waiting for the chance to outbid each other. Why? Because rarity is the one thing money can't manufacture. And third, this coin carries a story, a forbidden story. A mistake that slipped past federal oversight. A rare moment of human error immortalized in metal. Collectors don't just buy coins. They buy history. They buy myth. They buy the feeling of holding a secret that only a few people in the world will ever experience. But let's talk about you. Because the question burning in your mind right now is probably this: how do I know if I have one? Well, here's the simple checklist. A 1975 date, a bold D Mint mark under the year. And on the reverse, 2 wheat stalks instead of the memorial building. If all three match, your heart might start racing. If not, don't get discouraged. Because every year, coins that were hidden away in jars, drawers, and dusty boxes are discovered by complete accident. People become wealthy not because they were experts, but because they were curious. Speaking of curiosity, let me interrupt this deep, serious discussion with a quick pattern break. When was the last time you checked your couch cushions? Because at this point, even I'm tempted to flip mine over. Now back to the gold mine. Once a rare penny like this surfaces, the next step is authentication. Professional grading is essential because collectors want proof. When a coin is graded, photographed, secured, and sealed by experts like PCGS or NGC, its value skyrockets. And here's the cliffhanger. Some experts believe an even higher grade version of the 1975 D Wheat reverse might still be out there, possibly sitting untouched in someone's home. And if that happens, that coin won't be worth $975,000. It could push the market to $2 million, maybe more. This brings us to a powerful truth. The coin hobby isn't just collecting. It's investing. It's building generational wealth. It's turning something ordinary into something extraordinary. And the people who win big aren't always the wealthy. They're often everyday Americans who simply paid attention. Now think about this for a moment. Every coin you've ever held has traveled through thousands of hands, across decades, through pockets, registers, banks, and lives. Any one of them might have carried a treasure. But treasures only matter if you recognize them. And that's why videos like this are so important. Knowledge creates wealth. Awareness opens doors. Opportunity favors those who look. So ask yourself, when did you last look closely at your coins? Not just glance, but really look? Because every major discovery in the coin world happens when someone chooses to look one more time. The 1975 DeWitt Lincoln penny teaches us something deeper. Even the smallest thing in life, a penny, can become the doorway to a completely new financial future. People dream of winning the lottery, but lotteries are pure chance. Rare coins are different. They hide in plain sight. They reward attention, curiosity, and patience. And here's another cliffhanger for you. The coin market is heating up like never before. Wealthy investors who once put millions into stocks, real estate, and gold are now shifting into rare collectibles, including coins, because they understand scarcity. When only a few examples of something exist, the value doesn't just grow, it explodes. This means that if you have a rare penny like the 1975 DeWitt, or if you find one tomorrow, you're not just holding a collectible, you're holding an appreciating asset. One that could rise in value faster than traditional investments. One that could be the cornerstone of a wealthier lifestyle, a safer retirement, or even a legacy you leave behind. As we move toward the final part of the story, let me leave you with a haunting thought. Somewhere in America right now, there may be someone who owns this coin and has no idea. Could be tucked away in an old piggy bank, inside a jar in the garage, mixed in with 100 common pennies at the bottom of a drawer, maybe even inside your home. But only the person who chooses to look will find it. So here's your moment of urgency, your call to action. Don't wait. Don't assume someone else will find the treasure that should be yours. Start checking your coins today. Look through old boxes, rolls, jars, and inherited collections. Don't leave your financial future up to chance. Put it in your own hands. Because history has shown us something extraordinary. Fortunes don't always hide in banks or investment accounts. Sometimes, they hide in pennies. This is your opportunity, your moment, your chance to turn something small into something unbelievably powerful. So go look, go search, go discover. And who knows, the next 1975 DeWitt Lincoln 1-cent penny worth nearly $1 million might be waiting for you. Welcome back. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. A penny so ordinary, so familiar, that you might have passed over thousands of them in your lifetime without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, the 1982 no-mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent coin, has shocked collectors and rocked auction houses by reaching a staggering market value of $982,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a coin worth just 1 cent on its face. And somewhere out there, maybe in a forgotten jar, an old drawer, or tucked away in the corner of a childhood collection, another one is waiting to be found. This video is for you, the people who understand that wealth can come from the most unexpected places. The men and women who are tired of waiting for opportunities and want to discover them hidden in the everyday objects of life. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear may just change the way you look at every penny from this day forward. It all begins in the early 1980s, a time when the United States Mint made one of the most dramatic shifts in modern coinage history. Copper was becoming too expensive, and the era of solid copper pennies was coming to an end. But in this transition, errors were made, rare, peculiar, and unbelievably valuable errors. And from those mistakes emerged one of the most mysterious treasures in American numismatics. The 1982 no-mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that defied the odds and slipped through the cracks of an entire national currency redesign. But before we dive into why this coin is worth nearly $1 million, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked, at the coins lying around your home? The change in your car, the pennies collecting dust in a jar, the forgotten Ziploc bags in the back of a kitchen drawer? We tend to think treasure is out of reach, hidden in museums or locked in vaults. Yet sometimes treasure is hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look. And speaking of curiosity, here's a pattern interrupt for you. Why do we always say a penny for your thoughts, when some thoughts are worth millions, and now, apparently, so can the penny? If that doesn't make you double-check your pockets, I'm not sure what will. Now, the story of this coin's extraordinary value begins with its identity. The 1982 penny is already an unusual year in coin history because it was struck in two different compositions. One made of the old copper alloy, and the other made of newly introduced zinc. To make things even more confusing, the mint produced both small-date and large-date variations. In total, there were 7 recognized 1982 Lincoln cent types, but none of them were supposed to include a wheat reverse design anymore. The wheat design was retired in 1958, replaced by the memorial reverse in 1959. So how did a wheat penny appear in 1982? That mystery is exactly why collectors have been obsessed with this coin for decades. Some experts believe a leftover wheat reverse die, forgotten or misplaced, was accidentally used in production. Others believe it may have been a secret test strike, a transitional prototype, or even a mint employee error that went unnoticed. Whatever the cause, the result was a coin that should not exist, an impossible penny. And when something shouldn't exist but does, collectors pay attention. Very close attention. Auction houses have reported frenzied bidding wars when an authenticated specimen appears. The most recent confirmed sale? $982,000. Nearly $1 million for a penny no bigger than a fingernail. And that, my friend, is the exact moment fear and excitement collide. The fear of missing out, and the excitement of possibly having something extraordinary without even knowing it. But let's pause here, because you might already be wondering, could you have one of these coins? Could your old piggy bank, your father's coin jar, or that stash of pennies you've been meaning to exchange at the bank actually be hiding a ticket to a wealthy life? More people than you think have found rare coins in everyday places. And here's the truth. Someone will find the next one. The only question is, will it be you? There's something powerful about understanding that life-changing opportunities don't always shout. Sometimes they whisper. Sometimes they're the size of a penny. But if you learn what to look for, if you open your eyes to possibilities, you begin to realize that wealth often hides in places most people never bother to examine. Now, let's go deeper. Why is the 1982 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny so valuable? The answer lies in its perfect storm of rarity, historical anomaly, and collector demand. First, it is a one-year error transition coin. Second, the no-mint mark designation points directly to the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of coins were struck, but virtually none with this accidental design pairing. And third, the wheat reverse links this coin to one of the most nostalgic and beloved designs in American currency. For collectors, nostalgia is not just emotion, it is value. Add to that the fact that only a tiny number of authentic examples have ever been certified, and you have the recipe for astronomical prices. This coin is not just rare, it's nearly mythical. For every known specimen, there could be hundreds, maybe thousands, still undiscovered, or maybe only a handful. And here's the cliffhanger. No one knows. Imagine that. Somewhere in America, there may be a jar of pennies worth more than a beachfront home. Somewhere in a dusty attic, a family could be unknowingly sitting on $1 million heirloom. Somewhere, a retired couple might have inherited coins without realizing that one of them is worth more than every car they've ever owned combined. This is why urgency matters. Coins like this don't wait for anyone. The market moves, collectors compete, and as time passes, fewer coins remain in circulation or available to the public. The longer a rare coin goes unnoticed, the more likely it is to be damaged, lost, discarded, or melted down. And that means the value of surviving specimens continues to climb. But let's shift gears for a moment. Have you ever noticed how people spend hours scrolling through online marketplaces, searching for deals, flipping random items for profit? Yet they ignore a treasure hunt literally sitting at home? The irony is almost comical. Why buy mystery boxes when your real mystery box is a coffee jar filled with pennies? That jar doesn't just jingle. It whispers stories, possibilities, and maybe even fortune. Now let me guide you through something important. If you believe you may have a rare 1982 penny, or any rare penny for that matter, take your time. Don't rush to sell it. Don't hand it to a local pawn shop. And please, don't wipe it clean with soap and water. People have destroyed rare coins worth thousands by trying to shine them up. A rare coin doesn't need to shine. It just needs to survive. To identify a potential 1982 wheat anomaly, look for three things: no mint mark on the obverse, the wheat reverse design, and the correct 1982 date. If all three match, stop everything. You may be holding something that can rewrite your financial story. Send it to a reputable grading service. Get documentation. Protect it. Because once a rare coin is certified, its value becomes undeniable. Collectors trust it. Auction houses compete for it, and life-changing checks are written for it. Picture this for a moment. You walk into your local post office to mail in a coin you found at home, something you barely believed could be valuable. A few weeks later, you open an email, and there it is, certified, authenticated, labeled one of the rarest coins of its kind. Then the bids start. 10,000, 60,000, 200,000, 500,000. Your heart starts racing. You refresh the page over and over. And before you know it, the final hammer falls and your 1-cent coin is now worth nearly $1 million. That isn't a fantasy. That is a documented reality. But here's where the story becomes personal. The people who find coins like this aren't treasure hunters. They aren't millionaires. They aren't experts. They're everyday individuals, parents, retirees, workers, dreamers, people who simply chose to look. People who open their minds to the possibility that fortune does not always require luck. Sometimes it just requires attention. And maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you're tired of seeing wealth as something distant. Maybe you're ready to believe that your path to financial freedom could start with something small, something overlooked, something sitting in your home right now. This is your reminder that wealth doesn't always begin with investment accounts or real estate portfolios. Sometimes it begins with knowledge, with awareness, with picking up a penny and asking, "What if?" So as we come toward the end of this journey, let me leave you with a cliffhanger of your own life. Tonight, when you go through your home and start looking through your pennies, what will you find? Will you uncover something rare? Something valuable? Something that changes everything? Welcome back. Today, we are diving into a coin that could change your life. A coin so rare, so unexpectedly valuable, that collectors and investors alike are scrambling to get their hands on it. I'm talking about the USA 1988 D Mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that, in the right hands, could be worth up to $988,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in your old jar of pennies. If that doesn't make your heart race, I don't know what will. Imagine this. You're cleaning out a drawer or rummaging through a box of loose change, and you stumble upon a tiny copper coin, unassuming, ordinary in appearance. But beneath its humble surface lies a story of rarity, of mistakes, and of extraordinary opportunity. Most people overlook it, thinking it's just another penny. But for those who know, this 1988 D Lincoln Wheat Cent is a golden ticket, a potential fortune in your palm. It's easy to underestimate the power of coins. Yet history has shown us time and again that even the smallest pieces of currency can carry immense value. So why is this 1988 D penny so special? At first glance, it looks like any other penny minted in the late 1980s. But here's the twist. The D Mint mark tells a story of scarcity. Only a few of these coins were struck in a way that makes them unique, a detail so minute most people never notice. And therein lies the magic. A small error, a limited production run, and suddenly you're looking at a coin worth nearly $1 million. Think about that for a moment. How many times do you hold something in your hand without realizing it could change your life? It's thrilling, almost unbelievable. Now, let's pause for a second. Picture this. A friend asks, "Hey, can I borrow a penny?" And you hand over what seems like an ordinary coin. Little do they know, they've just walked away with nearly $1 million in their pocket. I mean, talk about an awkward conversation at the coffee shop, right? But that's the reality with rare coins like this. It's not just about copper and metal. It's about timing, knowledge, and recognizing value where others see none. For decades, collectors and investors have been hunting for rare Lincoln pennies. The 1988 D Wheat Lincoln 1-cent stands out not just for its rarity, but for its place in history. Each coin carries a legacy, a piece of the American story etched into its surface. And for those who understand the market, this isn't just collecting, it's wealth creation. People in your age group, 30 to 65, often find themselves looking for ways to grow their wealth outside the stock market, outside the typical investments. This is that opportunity. The excitement of holding something rare, coupled with the potential financial reward, is a combination that can change futures. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Not every 1988 D penny is worth nearly $1 million. There's a very specific condition, a perfect alignment of errors and minting quirks, that transforms an ordinary penny into a legendary collector's item. The margin for error in spotting these coins is small, and missing one could mean overlooking a fortune. Can you imagine cleaning out a jar of pennies and throwing away a coin that could have set you up for life? The fear of missing out here is real. It's the kind of scenario that keeps collectors awake at night, scanning coins under magnifying glasses, hoping to be the one who discovers the next hidden gem. Let's inject a little humor here because, honestly, we all need it. Imagine your pet dog fetching a coin from under the couch, and it turns out to be a 1988 D Mint Mark Lincoln Wheat penny worth almost $1 million. You'd probably forgive them for chewing on the couch cushions, right? It's absurd, but that absurdity highlights how invisible opportunity can be. You never know what's lying around your home, hidden in plain sight. Collectors also know that urgency is everything. The market for rare coins is incredibly dynamic. One moment, a particular penny is worth a few $1,000s. The next, a verified 1988 D Lincoln Wheat cent can fetch close to $1 million. Auctions, private sales, and collectors' networks move fast, and hesitation can be costly. This is why understanding the value of your coins isn't just fascinating. It's crucial. Every second you wait could be the difference between keeping a penny and unlocking a life-altering payday. Now, consider the journey of this coin from mint to market. Minted in 1988 at the Denver Mint, this penny started its life as a standard issue. But due to a small error in production, a fraction of these coins came out with unique characteristics that make them extraordinarily rare today. This combination of scarcity and desirability among collectors drives the market value into astronomical territory. And it's not just about owning a coin. It's about understanding the story behind it. Investors aren't just buying copper. They're buying a narrative, a piece of history, a symbol of exclusivity that others will pay top dollar for. Here's another thought to keep you on edge. You might be sitting there thinking, sure, this sounds exciting, but what are the odds I'll actually find one? The truth is, the odds are low, but that's exactly what makes it valuable. People pay premiums for rarity, and the thrill of the hunt only adds to the excitement. Some collectors spend years searching through rolls of pennies, attending auctions, and networking with other enthusiasts to find coins that fit this exact profile. And when they do, the rewards are life-changing. Let's break it down even further. The current market value of $988,000 isn't just a number pulled from thin air. This figure reflects verified sales of coins in pristine condition, coins that have been graded by professional services and authenticated for their unique attributes. Condition matters immensely. Even the slightest imperfection can reduce a coin's value by tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is where knowledge, diligence, and a keen eye become your most valuable assets. Your ability to spot quality, to recognize rarity, is what separates the casual collector from the one who can actually profit massively from their finds. And here's a cliffhanger for you. Imagine discovering that coin, finally holding it under the light, feeling the weight of nearly $1 million in your palm. But just as you're about to celebrate, a question hits you. How do you safely convert that coin into cash without risking its authenticity or losing a fortune in the process? This is where strategy becomes as important as luck. Selling rare coins requires expertise, timing, and connections. A misstep here could cost you millions. But handled correctly, this coin could be the key to financial freedom, an investment that appreciates over time, and a story that will be told for generations. As we consider this, it's impossible not to get caught up in the excitement. Rare coins like the 1988 D Lincoln Wheat penny aren't just collectibles, they're opportunities. Opportunities that tap into human emotion. The thrill of discovery, the fear of missing out, the joy of potential wealth. They force us to rethink ordinary objects, to question what we see in everyday life, and to recognize that extraordinary value can be hidden in the most mundane places. And let's not forget the power of storytelling. Every coin carries a history, from the moment it was struck at the mint to the hands it has passed through over decades. When you hold a 1988 D penny in your hand, you're not just holding copper, you're holding decades of American history, a tangible connection to the past, and a symbol of what can happen when rarity and demand intersect. It's powerful, almost intoxicating. So what's the takeaway? If you're serious about wealth, about uncovering hidden treasures, about taking advantage of opportunities that others overlook, then you need to pay attention to coins like the 1988 D Lincoln Wheat penny. It's not just about the money, although nearly $1 million is certainly compelling. It's about seizing opportunities, about knowing when to act, about recognizing value where others see nothing. And as we reach the end of this journey, here's the final thought to leave you with. Somewhere in the United States, a 1988 D Lincoln Wheat penny could be lying forgotten in a jar, on a shelf, or tucked into a wallet. That coin could belong to you, waiting to be discovered. The question is, will you recognize it when it's in front of you? Will you have the courage to act and claim the potential fortune it represents? The next time you sift through old change, remember, one small coin, one brief moment of recognition, could change everything. So, take a look at your pennies. Examine them carefully. You might just be holding a life-changing treasure. The 1988 D Lincoln Wheat 1-cent penny isn't just a coin. It's a key to wealth, a story of rarity, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value. Keep your eyes sharp, your curiosity alive, and your sense of urgency intact. The opportunity is real, the rewards are immense, and the next millionaire could very well be you. Welcome back. Imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand, a coin so rare that collectors around the world would pay almost anything to possess it. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the USA 1994 no-mint mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that isn't just small in size, but massive in potential value. Believe it or not, one of these pennies can be worth up to $994,000 in today's market. Yes, you heard that correctly. Almost $1 million for a single penny. And the most exciting part? Many Americans may be unknowingly sitting on these treasures in their own homes. Picture this. You're sifting through an old jar of pennies your parents kept from decades past, or maybe you've inherited a dusty box of coins from a grandparent. You pull out a seemingly ordinary 1994 Lincoln cent, expecting the usual 1-cent value. But as your eyes scan the coin, something feels off. There's no mint mark. And in that moment, the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. This isn't just a coin. It's a key, a golden ticket that could change your financial future forever. Now, you might be asking, why is this penny so valuable? On the surface, it's just a piece of copper, right? But the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny carries a story that intertwines American history, minting mistakes, and extreme rarity. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies each year, but a handful slipped through without the mint mark, creating an anomaly that collectors worldwide covet. Think about it like finding a misprinted $100 bill in circulation. The rarity alone creates a frenzy among collectors, but the story behind it amplifies the value exponentially. Here's a quick question. How often do you think you come across something worth nearly $1 million while checking your couch cushions? Rarely, right? That's the thrill of coin collecting. The blend of chance, history, and potential wealth. And the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny embodies all of it. Unlike other coins from the same year, this penny slipped under the radar, escaping mass production protocols. To an untrained eye, it looks like any other penny. But to the trained collector, it's a gem hiding in plain sight, a treasure waiting to be claimed. Imagine the excitement of realizing you own one. Your heart races, your mind spins, and suddenly, the coin jar in your attic is not just clutter. It's a vault of potential fortune. Many collectors have described that exact feeling. A surge of adrenaline followed by the realization that something so small can hold so much power. And this isn't just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the story you can now tell, and the legacy you can leave behind. But here's the kicker, these coins are vanishing. Each day, more are being found, bought, and tucked away in private collections, never to be seen again. The clock is ticking, and the opportunity is real. Let's take a moment to imagine the journey of this penny. It started as raw copper in a mint, was pressed with the image of Abraham Lincoln, and slipped into circulation unnoticed. Over decades, it traveled hands, pockets, and cash registers, completely unremarkable to the average person. But among collectors, this misprint became a legend. It's almost poetic. The most valuable coins are often the ones that were least noticed. It makes you wonder how many people have unknowingly let a fortune slip through their fingers. Now, you might be thinking, could this really happen to me? Absolutely. Thousands of Americans discover rare coins each year while cleaning, sorting, or even during casual walks through flea markets. And the best part? You don't need to be an expert to spot the potential. Look for the date, check the mint mark, or in this case, the absence of one, and inspect the condition. Even a coin that appears slightly worn can hold tremendous value if it's authentic. It's like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sometimes, all it takes is a closer look to unlock unimaginable wealth. Let me pause for a moment. If you're sitting there thinking, this sounds too good to be true, I get it, but history proves it. Collectors and numismatists have documented sales where a 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has fetched prices close to $1 million. And while many of us have tossed pennies aside as insignificant, the reality is far different. This coin isn't just currency. It's a vessel of legacy, rarity, and opportunity. Now, here's a question for you. How many pennies do you have lying around your house right now? 10? 50? Hundreds? Statistically speaking, if you've got a few hundred 1994 pennies, your chances of owning one with no mint mark are small, but not impossible. And that's what makes this hunt so electrifying. Every coin you examine could be the one that changes everything. And while we're on the topic, let's have a little fun. Imagine finding this coin in your change while buying a coffee. You hand over a penny, barista smiles, and you casually say, actually, this one's worth nearly $1 million. Bet you'd get a double take. But here's the urgency you need to understand. Coins like these don't stay on the market long. Once discovered, they are quickly verified, auctioned, or claimed by private collectors. Waiting too long, or failing to check your collection thoroughly, could mean missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And for those sitting on inherited coins, the message is clear. Examine, authenticate, and act. Don't let your fortune slip away while the value skyrockets elsewhere. Let's delve deeper into the collector mindset. What drives someone to pay such astronomical sums for a tiny penny? It's the thrill of possession, the understanding of rarity, and the certainty that history is in their hands. Every sale, every auction, reinforces the incredible allure of coins like the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And while the number is staggering, $994,000, it reflects more than just material wealth. It symbolizes the power of knowledge, foresight, and the courage to recognize value where others see nothing. Here's a little pattern interrupt for you. Did you know that Lincoln's face has been on the penny since 1909? That's over a century of history stamped into metal. Yet, a simple oversight in 1994 has created a coin that can eclipse the value of gold in the eyes of collectors. It's almost humorous. Lincoln probably never imagined people would be fighting over a tiny copper disc nearly 100 years after his portrait was first minted. But that's the magic of rare coins. Small mistakes, overlooked details, and decades of circulation can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. And while we're on the topic of rarity, consider this. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1994, yet only a handful exist without a mint mark. That scarcity is what fuels the frenzy, what drives collectors to bid tens, hundreds, and even millions of dollars. It's the ultimate blend of history, chance, and human desire. And that's where you come in. Every penny you examine is an opportunity. Every coin jar a potential treasure trove. You just have to look. Now, imagine the possibilities if you were to find one of these coins. You could secure financial freedom, fund a dream you've always had, or create a legacy for your family. The excitement isn't just in the money. It's in the story you'll tell. Picture the conversation at a family gathering. Oh, this old penny? It's worth nearly $1 million. The disbelief, the awe, the inspiration. It's life-changing, and it starts with awareness and action. Before we wrap up, let's leave you with this thought. Opportunity often hides in plain sight. You don't need to travel the world or dig in the dirt. Sometimes fortune is sitting in a jar, a drawer, or an old box of coins. The 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a reminder that history and wealth are intertwined, waiting for those bold enough to discover it. So take a moment, look through your collections, examine those pennies carefully, and remember, what may seem insignificant to one person could be priceless to another. In the end, the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just about money. It's about discovery, excitement, and seizing the moment. It's about the thrill of finding something rare, the satisfaction of understanding its true value, and the courage to act before it's gone forever. And perhaps most importantly, it's about recognizing that sometimes the smallest things, just one penny, can hold the power to transform your life in ways you never imagined. So, as you go about your day, think about this. That forgotten coin on your desk, in your wallet, or tucked away in a jar might just be your ticket to a fortune. The question is, will you notice it before someone else does? Will you seize the opportunity, or let it slip away like so many before it? History has shown time and again, the rewards go to those who are vigilant, informed, and bold. Your penny could be waiting. Are you ready to find it?